college affordability. So today's workshop, as you may know, is all about college affordability, and we're going to be talking about strategies for keeping tuition as low as possible. So a little bit about our flow of events today. We just did welcome and icebreaker. We got to know a little bit more about each other's hobbies. We'll be talking about the basics for paying for college, building affordable college lists, applying for scholarships, getting ready to complete FAFSA and other financial aid stuff and what forms you might need. Then we'll get you guys prepared on how to talk to your family about finances. And then finally, we will close it off with reviewing your financial aid offers, and we'll always have time for questions at the end. So I'm not the only one here today to help with this. We have George, who will be moderating. So if you get a message from George asking for your name, we just take that for workshop attendances, and he'll also be periodically dropping links in the chat throughout the whole thing. So definitely pay close attention to that. But yeah, this can be a difficult challenge for certain students. So if you do feel like you have questions, but you want to ask privately, feel free to just take my email down after, give me your email, and we can set up a meeting to talk a little bit more confidential about certain things. But yeah, get super excited. You'll learn about some scholarships that you're eligible to apply for too. So without further ado, let's get into it. I'm Aya. I currently attend the University of Rochester, and I'm enrolled in their dual degree program with the Eastman School of Music. I'm majoring in political science, and I have a philosophy minor. And my degree over at the other campus is guitar performance. I'm from Brooklyn, New York, and right now I'm working as like a summer RA slash program assistant for incoming first gen students. So very excited. I love the weekend, and if you want to meet with me, there's my Calendly link. Feel free to set up a meeting, can talk about everything we spoke about in this workshop and just go a little bit more in depth. And additionally, we have a raffle of the day for each workshop, and how you'll be eligible for it is by chatting in a response or asking a question, unmuting and responding or asking a question, and keeping your camera on. Obviously, camera on is not, you don't have to do that, but definitely do try to engage, like have a chance to type something in the chat for a chance to win $10. And Hidayah, you're the only student that we have. So, this might be an easy win for you. Other than that, we also do have a grand prize raffle. So for each workshop that you've attended, you get one ticket to be entered in the grand prize. So we'll be giving away $25, $50, and $100 for 3 lucky winners. So yeah, you get another ticket just by being here. Isn't that great? Okay, now it is time for us to get into our first section of the workshops, and that's all about the basics of paying for college. So in this section, we're going to be talking about just some of the ways that people pay for college, and the sorts of financial aid that are available to you. So this slideshow will just give us a little breakdown of each sort of financial aid. One thing that I always like to remind our students is that almost nobody pays the full sticker price for college. And sticker price is the price that you see when you search up, for example, Stony Brook University tuition. You see that's a sticker price. Most of the time, nobody pays all of that. So financial aid comes in a few different forms, and here's the differences. So scholarships are basically free money that students get for a number of reasons to pay for school. Scholarships aren't typically, like, you don't have to pay them back, and usually they are given from like your grades and test scores and stuff, but there are also so many scholarships for literally anything you can think of, and they vary in size. Other than that, there are grants. Grants are similar to scholarships in the way that you don't really need to pay them back, but they don't really look at like merit or personal achievement. They're kind of just looking at your financial need and how much help you will need to pay for school. And then now the money that you do have to pay back That's loans. Loans are money that you're going to have to pay back to either the government or private lenders. Government loans have lower interest rates, and what that means is that you'll be paying less long term. So definitely, if you do have to take out loans, I would highly recommend looking for government loans to take out. And then finally, another popular way that students pay for school is through work study, which is basically like a part-time job on campus that is included in your financial aid package, which will almost guarantee you to get a job on campus to help pay for your tuition. So these are the different types of aid. Just as a reminder, nobody tends to pay full price, and you will get some form of these in your financial aid package. So our first full poll of the night, which one of the following do you think best describes your goals related to paying for college? So is it getting as many scholarships as possible? Is it getting a full ride, taking out no or minimal loans, or working towards a high paying career so that you can pay your debt back pretty easily? Hi, welcome. We are just answering a quick poll on our financial goals related to college and what you're trying to get out of it. Is it getting scholarships, full ride scholarships, taking out loans, or not getting a high in demand job so that you can pay your loans easier? Okay, so there's pretty much everything is tied, but I think when I was going to school, I really didn't want to take out too many loans, and I was also prioritized on getting a full ride. So definitely making college as affordable as possible is like a huge thing that I've seen throughout the years. It's a very common goal. A lot of these goals, it's normal to have all of these goals in mind at the same exact time, but definitely we'll be learning about how you might be able to make these goals achievable throughout the workshop. So make sure you pay careful attention to everything we share. All right, now I know a lot of you guys were worried about student loans, so let's talk a little bit about what that entails. So we've talked about the different sources of financial aid. Let's give a little bit more context about student loans and who they affect the most. So unfortunately, first generation college students, low income students, and students of color tend to, on average, take out more loans than people. And on top of that, first gen graduates do usually on average graduate with higher amounts of debt. And because of that, learning about financial aid now and financial planning is really important. So if any of you guys are first gen students of color, low income students, that you guys have as much knowledge as possible on financial aid so that you're making informed decisions about paying for college. And the good news is that you're already working on that just by being at this workshop. So shout out to you guys. And as you continue to like learn more and actually apply to schools, your coach will be there for you for questions. I believe starting August 1st, you'll get a new coach to guide you through senior year. So yeah, that's make sure you lean on your coaches for any questions you might have regarding college. And finally, if student debt does feel a little bit intimidating, that's totally normal. I completely get it. I tried to avoid taking out loans for undergrad. It can be scary, but just know that there are activists and organizations actively working to address the student debt crisis, and they do advocate for people that are borrowing. So if you are interested in learning more, definitely check out the student debt crisis. There's going to be a link in the chat right now. If you do want to read a little bit more about it, highly recommend just staying in the loop about the most recent things about student debt. Yeah, so graduating without debt, depending on where you go, is not really possible for most students, and that's okay. You shouldn't feel bad about taking loans, but you just want to make as much of a conscious financial decision as you can. So now let's talk about the good stuff. How can we keep college affordable? So throughout the workshop, we're going to be talking about the 3 ways to keep college affordable. Hidayah, would you like to read the list off for us?
Yeah, I can read it.
Yeah.
The first one is create an affordable college list. The second option is apply for lots of scholarships, and the third is to choose the best financial aid offer.
Yes, thank you so much for reading. And Malek, I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong. Just to a little bit of a heads up, we're doing like a raffle of the day where if you want the chance to win $10, all you've got to do is chat in response to be entered, either unmute, respond, engage in the workshop, or keep your camera on. So definitely try to engage throughout the workshop so you have a shot at winning $10 in the form of a gift card that you can use anywhere, well, most places. Don't quote me on that. Okay, so throughout this, we're just going to keep breaking down each way to keep college affordable, starting with creating an affordable college list. So this section is all about minimizing the amount of that you'll have to pay by just starting off building an affordable list, schools that you know that you could afford if you get in, if you apply and get into them. So you might be asking what makes a college affordable. If you've attended any of our workshops, you've probably seen this slide before. It's one that I highly recommend coming back to after the workshop and just using as a guide to add low cost schools to your college list. So there's a couple of different categories that colleges fall into for to be as affordable as possible. We have schools that have lower sticker prices. So those are your community colleges, public universities. So if any of my New Yorkers are here, that's like your SUNY schools, your CUNY schools. There's schools that have lower tuition on average, and then there's tuition-free schools. A couple of universities around the United States are doing free tuition for families that make under about 125. I think Emory University is one. I know John Hopkins and NYU might be doing NYU. Certain schools do that. So definitely look into that. And then there's schools that have good financial aid. So schools that meet 100% of demonstrated need. So what that means is you will fill out the FAFSA and other forms, and it'll be able to gauge how much your family can reasonably afford for school. And they'll take that number and tuition, and your college will essentially meet that gap and pay for all that you do need to go to school. So my school is one that has need-based financial aid. And it gave me, I have like a pretty good scholarship. I have full tuition and most of my room and board is covered. So that is something you're interested in, definitely highly recommend looking for schools that do have need-based aid. Additionally, there are some colleges that meet 100% of demonstrated need for undocumented students. So if this does apply to you, I would totally check this out. This is a great starting point to look for schools that do meet need, because on some circumstances, if you are undocumented, you might have to rely a little bit more on scholarships. Majority of your funding would probably come from scholarships, so definitely try to get a head start on that if that does apply to you. And then finally, there are colleges that have great merit scholarships. So those are schools with large endowments and schools that have full ride scholarships. So it's all about just doing all of your research on the different sorts of schools, coming back to this list, but making a college list that's already affordable will ease a lot of the financial burden that comes with paying for schools. So now we have a reflection question. Of the different types of affordable schools, is there a specific type of school that you think you guys want to add on to your list? So just refer back to any of these schools and the sorts of aid we spoke about. Like, I know a lot of you guys said that you want to focus on making college as affordable as possible, getting full ride scholarships. I would take a moment and take a look at one of these categories and see if any of them, see which one in specific you'd want to add to your list. And yes, thank you. George just also dropped a guide to applying to college as an undocumented student. So if that does apply to you, feel free to take a look at that. Okay, so thank you guys for engaging in that. Our next section is just going to be about applying to scholarships. So by the yes, George, thank you. Macaulay Honors is a really good program too. You do get a full ride. You get a full ride and a couple of other things too. I think, George, are you a Macaulay Honors student?
Yes, I am.
Oh, nice. Yeah. So one of my friends did it, and I know he like gets a considerable amount of like help from the school.
Yeah, no, it's a great program, but Malik, happy to connect later if you're interested in learning more.
Thank you.
All right, so now let's talk about our scholarship timeline. So, a little sudden, but I'm going to give you guys homework this week. Your scholarship timeline right now should basically starting this week so that in the fall, you don't have to worry about getting scholarship applications in and you can worry about getting actual college applications in. So, this week, take a moment to identify scholarships that you're interested in applying to. In August, prioritize and prepare all the scholarship materials that you'll need. So make sure you're keeping track of those deadlines and any requirements. So we'll get into a little bit more about what scholarships might require, but make sure you are compiling all those by August. And then from September to April is when you want to start submitting your scholarship applications. And also, there are scholarships for current undergraduate students. So if that is something that you think you will need throughout college, definitely don't stop in your senior year. Like, apply to scholarships as long as you're eligible for them. And I know that scholarships can be very overwhelming, so we do have a spreadsheet for you guys to keep you on track. The spreadsheet basically just shows you the different deadlines for it's another way to keep track of deadlines and required material. So if you are somebody that uses Excel or Google Sheets, this is a great thing. And if you don't really have any familiarities in Google Sheets, this is like a pretty easy like this will be a pretty easy spreadsheet for you guys. It's pretty self-explanatory. So I would highly recommend it just so that you have everything you need regarding scholarships in one place. So now let's talk about how to win scholarships. So one of the biggest misconceptions about scholarships is that you have to have perfect grades to win them. And the reality is, like, of course, perfect grades will always reward you, but you don't always need to have them to get scholarships. Scholarships can be awarded for all sorts of reasons. So the college essay guy likes to explain it like this. People who win scholarships generally have one or more of the following going for them: great academics, amazing talent. So any of my artists, athletes, definitely keep an eye out for that, and a unique set of qualities. So, for example, an adopted Native American transgender girl from Montana majoring in floriculture with veteran parents who now work as teachers. Any of those things that are underlined in orange could make you eligible for a scholarship. And then also, time and determination is definitely something that you shouldn't be sleeping on. Like, if you are putting time and effort into your scholarship application, the committees that review your application can tell when you've put a considerable amount of time into it. So it can really help you to just be as thoughtful as possible when you are applying to scholarships. So don't count yourself out if you don't feel like you have a perfect GPA or test scores. Just think about your hobbies and the things that make you who you are, because a lot of the time that's where scholarship opportunities come from. So if none of these things apply to you, that's also okay. You don't need to get scholarships. Like, obviously they're helpful, but if you do want to focus on making colleges affordable, just if you don't apply to a lot of scholarships, just think about building an affordable college list. So now let's talk about the things that make you unique. As I just said, there are a bunch of scholarships for different types of people, and you can be surprised about how much they vary. You can search for scholarships by your interests, any talents you have, life experiences, and like life experiences could be like being the eldest sibling, or being first generation, or being the child of immigrants. Like, there's just so many opportunities that you can get scholarships for. Like, I went to high school in Brooklyn. I went to a Title I high school, which is like high schools where the vast majority of the students are underprivileged. So there's scholarships for even going to economically disadvantaged schools. There's scholarships for activities, extracurriculars, culture or racial identity. Religion is also a thing as well. City, town, state, or country of origin, and even languages spoken. So Now I would like you guys to compile a list of 5 to 10 things that make you you. And if you click onto that link that George just sent, you can see all of the different scholarships for attributes. So if you click onto that link, you'll see like there's an environmental activism scholarship, there's like first in family, there's categories on first gen scholarships, there's categories for if you like fishing, there's left-handed people scholarships, queer scholarships. There are just so many scholarships for you guys to apply to. So take a couple of seconds, compile a list of like what makes you you, any of your personality traits. And then yeah, when you come back, we can unmute or chat in any of your research on scholarships or just the list that you wrote. Okay, so thank you for sharing. Now we can get into the searching for scholarship, how you can search for scholarships. So you already got a chance to look at the list of helpful scholarships, but Let's Get Ready actually has a scholarship guide for students that shows you guys a different kind of ways to search for scholarships. So we have some scholarship search engines in there and also links to some of the best scholarships. So if you click on to the scholarship guide, I might have to get that link for you. Yeah, George just dropped it in the chat. It's basically just a resource guide for everything that you need to know for scholarship searching, including any scams that you might have to be aware of. So keep that in mind, but this is a super helpful resource. It just will connect you to all sorts of scholarships, and even like local scholarships that you might be able to find as well. And state specific ones. They have New York State and Pennsylvania, which is perfect for you guys. So yeah, definitely take a moment and look at that. If you want right now, look at the doc, and if any of those scholarships stand out, you can note them. You guys already shared scholarships that you looked at, but if anything is like screaming at you right now, feel free to share it from this list. I think an interesting one, I really appreciate like the first gen scholarships. I think it's super important. Like being first generation is a challenge. But at the same time, it's really cool to see there are so many scholarships available for first gen students.
I had recently saw the Coca-Cola scholarship and I thought that was pretty cool because like the weekend away and stuff.
Where'd you hear about it?
A while ago I was like looking at scholarships. I think I might have actually used the resource guide as well.
Oh, nice. That's I love to hear that. But yeah, definitely apply for it. You never know.
hmm
Um, Thank you for sharing. So, now let's talk about scholarships that you guys are both already eligible for. So the first one to talk about is the College Board Big Future Scholarship. This is a scholarship that I highly recommend because it was created especially for juniors, and it's nice because they do end up awarding a bunch of juniors. I believe awards range from anywhere like 500 to 40,000, and they give out a bunch of them. So I do recommend looking into it. And the way that this scholarship works is that if you are already applying for college, you should be eligible for the Big Future scholarships. So it's all about just starting your college list, making a career list, starting your scholarship list, strengthening your college list, completing your FAFSA, and applying to college. You guys should already be doing that. So you may as well incentivize it and apply for the scholarship because it's a chance of winning free money. On top of that, there is the Dell Scholarship, and as Let's Get Ready students, you guys have access to the scholarship, and here's what you need to know about it. So the Dell Scholarship, instead of being like the College Board one where it's like anywhere from 500 to 40,000, it's just one big scholarship. So it's a $20,000 scholarship. It includes a Dell laptop with 4-year warranty and credits for textbook. And you'll also get personalized academic, mental and financial support through your time in college. And you are eligible to apply because you are a Let's Get Ready student. So you have access to applying. I would totally recommend doing so. We don't have a link right now, but we are going to be sharing more information via text when the application does open in the fall. So eligibility for this is that you just have to be on track to graduate with at least a 2.4, demonstrate a need for financial aid, and plan to enroll full-time in pursuit of a bachelor's degree in the fall after you graduate. Yeah, so when that comes to that, I would highly recommend looking to applying to the Dell Scholarship. It's an opportunity that you guys have because you're Let's Get Ready students. So now let's talk about what does it take to apply for scholarships and what you'll need for it. So once you've found the scholarships you want to apply to, there's a couple things that you're gonna need. So firstly, you'll likely need a resume. A resume is something that you will continue to use. So if you have one already, that's great. If you don't, that's also fine. They're not as difficult as you might to make. Oh, we got a new student. Hi, Evan. Welcome. We're just talking right now about what it takes to apply for scholarships. But yeah, resumes are something that you'll probably need. It's just to showcase the things that you've done in high school or middle school, just any professional experiences that you guys might have had or any clubs that you're involved with. Something that I put is that my dad had like a business and I would always help him out and like some paperwork. My siblings also needed help with homework and I put that on my resume. It was like homework helper for my siblings because that is time that I contributed to it. So if that is something that that relates to you, don't sell yourself short on your resume. Put whatever you think is appropriate on there because all experiences can help you. Finally, you'll probably need letters of recommendation for scholarships. So you guys will need letters of rec to apply to college anyways. So to avoid asking multiple people for letters of recommendation, you can just ask your teacher to like tweak what they already wrote about you, so that you don't have to get them to rewrite an entire letter. And most of the time they're pretty open to doing this. Shoot an email, be like, hey, I'm applying for this scholarship. And they might be able to look at the scholarship criteria and tweak their letter to make you fit the mold, I guess, of the scholarship a bit better. So if you already have people that are recommending you, I would let them know that you are planning on also using that letter for scholarships. But if you don't have recommenders, I would highly recommend getting the ball rolling on that. So that's one less thing to worry about once you're in the actual school year. And then finally, make sure you have a list of so many scholarships. Apply for so much more money than you hope to receive. The sky is the limit. If you're looking to apply for, if you want to get, let's say, $2,000 to $3,000 worth of scholarships, apply for like $50,000 or $75,000 worth of scholarships because you probably won't get anything, but the more wins you can get, the better. And something that makes you a bit more likely to win scholarships is scholarships with fewer applicants. So these are more niche scholarships with like less requirements, local scholarships. And then also, I would recommend not overlooking smaller scholarships. I know people tend to be drawn to like scholarships with bigger numbers, like between a $5,000 scholarship and like a $400 scholarship. People are probably more inclined to the $10,000 one. But another way to think about it is, what if you apply to the $400 one and then you apply to another one that's like 600 and 200 and you just keep adding money until the total you've gotten from small scholarship actually exceeds the initial 10,000 that you were looking at. So don't overlook small scholarships. They can really add up. And then finally, get started on your scholarship list right now, just because you really don't want to find yourself in a situation where you're trying to apply for college, polish your college applications, get your financial aid, and applying to scholarships at the same time. It can feel like a lot. So I would highly just recommend looking into it now as you guys are on recess from school. Yeah, so then we'll be talking a little bit about goal setting around surrounding scholarships. So we've talked a little bit about the different sorts of scholarships and how you will have to apply to them. So we talked about timeline for applying, how to search for scholarships, prioritizing which ones to apply for, preparing your materials, which is essay, resume, and recommendation letters. We also showed you guys 2 scholarships that you're eligible for and showed you the Let's Get Ready scholarship guide. So think of one step you'd like to take this week to obtain your scholarship goals. So remember, you want to make your goals SMART, so specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. So make specific goals for yourself. But yeah, think of one goal that you would like to take this week. Doesn't have to be about scholarships, but about making college more affordable. And I'll give you guys like 2 minutes to just think of a goal that you'd like to take. Welcome back, guys. I hope you were able to enjoy your 5 minutes. So for our next section, we're just going to be talking to you guys about family and finances, and we're also going to be talking about completing FAFSA, since I know a few of you have mentioned it as well. So it's going to be fun. We'll have time for questions at the end, but also if you do have a pressing question, feel free to stop me and I'll answer it then as well. But yeah, so let's get into our next section, which is all about talking to your family about finances. So I know it can feel a little awkward, but unfortunately, when it comes to talking about paying for college, you are going to have a conversation with your family or guardians regarding money. I know a lot of families don't usually openly discuss their finances, but when you are applying to college, it is really important to have a basic understanding, at least, of your financial situation. And the biggest reason for that is because your family's income tends to play a pretty big role in determining the amount of financial aid that you might get. So it's very helpful to know whether or not your family is able to contribute to your education, and also like if it's not possible, how you might have to go about that. So I know it can feel a little bit awkward, but it's definitely an important thing to know getting into college application season, because a lot of schools will ask about your family's finances. And also, once you know what your annual income is, you are able to use a net price calculator, which gives you a rough estimate of how much you're projected to be paying for college. Obviously, it's not completely accurate, but most of the time, the net price calculators can be super helpful. And just know that no matter what, you can attend college, but understanding your family's finances is going to allow you to create a school list that is much more affordable for you. So let's talk about opening the financial conversation. So our prompt is, what is an emoji that expresses how you feel about asking your parents/guardians about their financial situation and or what they plan to contribute to your education? And I'll find one too of how I felt. I feel like mine's like this guy. I was like pretty anxious to talk about it. Yeah. I see similar emojis too. But yeah, not the most fun of conversations, I will say, but also super important to have. So some ways to go about the conversation regarding finances is share your financial goals related to college. So the things that we talked about earlier, getting a full ride, getting as much scholarship as possible, minimizing student debt, whatever your financial goals are for college, share that with your parents or guardians. Let them know that you're trying to go to a school and pay as little money as possible, or take out the least amount of loans as you can, and tell them that you need to know their finances because it's going to help you create an affordable schools list, and it's also going to you're gonna need it to fill out like the FAFSA and other financial aid forms, and have the conversation ahead of time instead of like putting them on the spot. If you give them like notice that you want to start talking about it, just casually bring it up, be like, oh mom, like, we're gonna have to find a time this week to sit down and talk about like paying for college. Just easing yourself into the conversation makes it feel a little bit stressful. Like, I know it can suck to talk about, but definitely rely on your coaches if you do need help on how to open the conversation. They'll definitely be able to give you some insight, because everyone that has applied for financial aid has to have a knowledge of like their family's finances. So lean on your coaches, they've done it already, and chances are they're open to helping you. So in many cases, parents or your guardian will need to fill out financial aid forms, and this graphic is helpful on telling you which parent you might need to ask. So if you want to take a moment to just look through this so you know which one you might want to ask depending on your situation. And I know that it feels kind of technical and complicated, but it's all going to help you get your FAFSA in long term. So there is a resource that George just dropped on how to report parent information on your FAFSA, so that once you get there, you know what you'll need to be asking of your parents. And I'm not an expert in this, but FAFSA has a ton of useful articles. So definitely check out that link and just do your research online, and it will be pretty helpful in completing the FAFSA and getting your parents involved. So now our next section is getting ready to complete the FAFSA. So in this, we're going to be talking about what it stands for and how you'll be filling it out, and the fact that you'll need to use it every year while you are in college. So here's what you need to know about FAFSA. So FAFSA stands for Free Application for Federal Student Aid. It provides access to free money in the form of grants and scholarships, and is used by schools to evaluate need-based financial aid in the form of low-interest loans and work study. You do need to complete it for every year that you are in school, and it's not only limited to 4 years. Like, I believe you have a lifetime eligibility of like 7 years. Don't quote me, but it's not limited to 4 years. And also, do want to mention that if you're not a US citizen, you may or may not be eligible. You can check your non-citizen eligibility in that link. So if that does apply to you, it's not a definitive no, you can't apply, or like yes, you can apply. Just do your research, see where you fit in. But also it is important to note that FAFSA has been going through a lot of changes with the recent administration. So you definitely want to look at the most recent changes and updates on the FAFSA, which George also dropped. But yeah, stay in the loop about everything going on regarding financial aid. Things can change, so you want to be as informed as you possibly can be. It is also important to complete the FAFSA as soon as possible. So it opens on October 1st, but you do want to fill it out quickly because money is assigned on a rolling basis. So it's first come, first serve, essentially. So the later that you apply in the cycle, the less money is available for you. And different colleges and states have different FAFSA deadlines. March 15th, I know, is a pretty common one where all schools require you to have it in by March, but in reality, you should have it in as soon as you can. And you don't want to put it off, because sometimes that takes getting IDs together, tax returns, and documents that might need a little bit more time to compile. So if you can get it in as soon as possible, you would want to. And the key takeaway is that for many of these things that we talk about regarding like scholarships, and it's okay to sometimes wait for the deadline to do it. This is not one of those things. This is something that you want to complete as soon as possible. So if it's out October 1st, I want you guys to try to get it in at least by November 1st. If you do it earlier, the better. If it takes more time, that's okay. Just try to have it high on your priority list during senior year. And now we'll talk about steps for getting ready for the FAFSA. So you'll need to create an FSA ID. You'll want to use your personal email so you don't lose access to it once you graduate high school. You want to keep your login information. It's going to be the same every year, and it will probably take about 2 days to process. So just keep that in mind. Your parent or guardian will also need to create an FSA ID. Obviously, that might not be possible for everyone's parents to do. I always did it like by myself on behalf of my father, and I just had him on the phone with me, or when I was in person with him, I would like sit down with him and do it so that he didn't have to navigate that all by himself. So if you do have the chance to sit down with them, I would highly recommend doing that instead of just letting them do it on their own. But you'll also need a list of all your financial documents you'll need. So IDs, your tax returns for the year, if your parents have a business, any relevant information for that, and just a couple of different documents that you're going to need. And you can come back to this list later on after the workshop and just look at what you will need. And then after you've created an FSA ID, then you can create a FAFSA account, and you want to set aside about an hour to 2 hours with your parent or guardian to complete this. And just know this hour will, on average, save you between $5,000 and $12,000. That's the average financial aid award that you get from FAFSA. So if that is something that you anticipate needing, if you want 5 to 12 grand, take the hour, sit with your parent, guardian, do whatever you need to, just get the FAFSA application in, because a lot of colleges will require it for you to get financial aid, but it's also just really helpful. So definitely come back after the workshop and check this slide out and go through all of these hyperlinks. And just know that when it is complicated, it is completely okay to ask for help. Every student's family and financial situation can be different, which can make filling out financial aid forms a bit more complicated. If you have to take the lead on filling out these forms, a lot of students do. I did it myself. You are 100% capable of finishing, but ask for help from someone who has filled it out before, and you can ask people like your guidance counselor, any family members who've gone to college, your friends who are filling it out. You can ask your LGR coach. I believe that the federal government also has programs in assisting you to fill out your FAFSA. So there are a bunch of different opportunities that you can get for help. So don't be afraid to lean on your resources when you do need help. And it can feel very intimidating. This is like the first time I ever spoke about like finances with my family, and I was like super scared. But it helps me get to an affordable school, so it is necessary. So here are your heads up. So to see what questions are included on FAFSA, there is a preview of it out online, and they have versions in English and Spanish, but check out the College Essay Guide to avoid the most common rookie FAFSA mistakes. Definitely keep checking your emails. Some people get selected to complete additional FAFSA verification, so make sure that you are checking your email so that you are as eligible as possible and that you're not missing something detrimental to your application. And then finally, FAFSA is not the only financial aid form you'll be filling out. So if you are going to a private school or interested in applying to private schools, they'll also ask you to complete a CSS profile, which will be sent to school so that they know how much more financial aid you might need, and it'll give you access to certain scholarships too. And this is done through College Board. So it mostly has to do with private schools, but it's another financial aid form that you might have to fill out. So be on the lookout for that. That brings us to the end of our FAFSA section. Our next section is all about reviewing your financial aid offers. So what a financial aid offer is that after you get accepted to schools, each school will basically send out an anticipated amount of aid that they expect to send you. So would anyone like to read this out loud?
Can I?
Yeah, of course.
After you finish all your financial aid and college applications, you'll wait to see where you are accepted. Each college that accepts you will send a financial aid award letter. These are super important. The amount of aid each school gives you will vary, often dramatically. Financial aid letters are confusing and come in different formats.
Yeah, thank you for reading that. And so yeah, it's all about the school is letting you know how much money they're giving you and how much money you're also receiving from the federal government. And in some cases, the state that you're in as well. So they can be very confusing to read at time. And this is something that will only exist in relation to college. So once you do this, you probably will never have to do it again in your life. But financial aid awards just tell you how much you are anticipated to pay. And you will during your senior year, you'll have to study them a lot. Look at all of your financial aid letters. And here are the important things to know. Some schools try to make it appear like you'll pay less. So it can be a little bit tedious, but take all the money that you have in your application, your financial aid award, and just calculate it, crunch all those numbers, make sure that you're actually going to know what you will be paying. You don't want to think that you're getting a full ride scholarship and not realize that they included loans in your package, or you might not be getting as much aid as you anticipated, and then you go into the fall and then you see that your bill has a big number that you did not anticipate. So study your financial aid award letters like there is no tomorrow. Just look at them so you know exactly what to expect when your bill comes out in the summer. So we're going to be sending out a tip sheet / video on how to review them. And this is a particularly important time to utilize the support of your LGR coach that you're going to have next year. If you need help reviewing your application, reach out to your coaches, send them what your financial aid letter was, and they might be able to help you decipher it, because sometimes it looks like a completely different language from how many formal terms that there are in it. So reach out to your coaches, get the help that you do need there, and do not commit to attending a college before you review the financial aid offers from all of the schools that you get into. Every single school that you get into and that you apply aid for, look at all of your applications and all of your financial aid award letters, just so that you can weigh all of your options. Sometimes the school that you might not have anticipated to give you so much aid might give you more aid. So just make sure that you're looking at every single one of your financial aid award letters. So yeah, we know that talking about finances is a lot, and that's why we are here to support you. We know that you can do it. It's going to be challenging, but you guys are all equipped with everything you need to know in terms of financial aid for college. Lean on your coaches. We're here to answer your questions and help guide you through those difficult conversations that you're going to have. So now we have time for questions. And I do want to thank everybody for joining us. I always love to get to hear a little bit more about each one of your hobbies, and hear that you guys are looking into applying to scholarships. It makes my heart happy. And to finish off, we do have like a feedback form. We love to hear from students. This workshop is based off of what students shared last year on our feedback form. So if you want to take a moment to fill that out, you are more than welcome to. It's not required, but it helps just better what you guys might want to hear. And now we have time for questions. So if you don't have any questions, you are free to go, but thank you once again for coming.